I have a confession to make. When I was younger, I was a ravenous nail biter. I would bite my nails past the bed, and when I had no nails left, I would bite on the skin around my fingers. My hands looked mangled, and I knew I wanted to stop, but it felt nearly impossible. But one day, I managed to quit, and now look at my nails. Oh yeah, very long now. I'm not gonna lie to you and say that it was easy, because it definitely wasn't. But it's not impossible, and that's all that matters. And I'm gonna give you the steps that helped me not only break my bad habit of biting my nails, but also help me stop other bad habits, like my lifelong chronic procrastination. The first step is to identify the problem and label it as an addiction. What is the issue you're trying to overcome? The first step in getting over a problem is identifying you have one. Is it social media, coffee, procrastination? Whatever it is, write it down. Put it in the comments if you're feeling brave. It can help you with accountability, and it can also remind you that you're trying to break this habit anytime anybody likes it. And by being vulnerable, we can all admit to the problems that we have. If you're not comfortable sharing it, then put it in your notes or just try and remember it, but I highly recommend having it physically written somewhere. A bad habit that you cannot break becomes an addiction. The Oxford definition is the fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance or activity. You don't need to be drinking or smoking to get addicted. Any habit that makes you feel good or calm down, like nail biting or TikTok, can become an addiction if it negatively impacts your life. Understanding that your brain gets hooked on the positive emotions and feelings that these bad habits create can help us work towards eliminating them by creating healthier alternatives. Some bad habits, though, like not saying thank you or cursing or interrupting people, do not count as addictions. They are less like habits and more like personality defects. But it's still a good idea to identify them and write them down. If you cannot control your habits, you cannot control your life, and nobody likes feeling powerless. Step 2 is to identify what your life would look like if you did nothing, and then to identify what your life would look like if you stopped. For a small habit like biting your nails or leaving things off until the last minute, it might not seem like a big deal or something that you really need to get rid of. But that's why you need to identify what your life would look like if you did nothing about this bad habit. For me, it was nail biting. Nail biting is a really unattractive habit. It's also very gross as it introduces a lot of germs and bacteria into my mouth. If I didn't stop biting my nails, I would likely continue getting sick easily. I would also most likely be seen as somebody with low self-confidence, and my hands looked very unappealing, all chewed. You can identify whatever the negatives around your bad habit are. It could be making you appear undesirable to others. It could be getting in the way of your dreams or things you need to get done. It could be causing you harm, or maybe you just don't want to be controlled by something anymore. Whatever it is, identify both the internal and or external motivations for stopping your bad habit. Once you do that, you can imagine the inverse and think about what your life would look like if you quit the bad habit. When I stopped procrastinating, I didn't feel so stressed all the time because I had already done all the things I needed to do. Maybe you've been procrastinating on things that are important to you, like maybe creating a YouTube channel like I had been. Imagine you achieving whatever your goals are for when you stop this habit. Maybe it could be a longer life. Maybe it could be better relationships. Whatever it is, picture that and go towards that goal. Step 3 is to identify why you're doing the habit and to figure out some better replacements. Now that you have your motivation for stopping the habit, let's understand why you're even doing it in the first place. Habits are oftentimes triggered by familiar settings, times, or activities. For example, you see your phone on the counter, so you pick it up and you go straight to TikTok. Your phone was the trigger of the habit of opening TikTok. But once you've identified the trigger, you can take some measures to counter this. Putting your phone in a hard-to-reach place, such as underneath your bed, will help eliminate some of the triggers. Since it's hard to reach under your bed, it also gives you more time to reconsider your actions. So instead of automatically picking up your phone and going straight to social media without even thinking about it, you have to get down and reach under your bed, and it gives you plenty of time to think, oh, should I be doing this or should I be doing other things? The best way to get rid of an addiction or a bad habit is to replace it with something more productive. For me, I didn't want to be on TikTok so much, so I hid the app away on my phone, and on the first page of my screen, you can see productivity apps like Duolingo or AirLearn. So instead of being on TikTok, I would practice my Spanish or Japanese. If you want to get off your phone entirely, you can put your wallpaper to something that will remind you of the other hobbies you want to do, such as exercising or art. A lot of times, a habit stops being enjoyable, but we still do it anyway because it's that ingrained in our systems. I would be scrolling on TikTok for hours trying to de-stress after school, but I found that TikTok actually made me feel more stressed. And instead of leaving the app, I was searching even more for something that would give me the same relief that it used to. So I decided that instead of going on TikTok, I would go for a walk with my dog outside. Addictions like these bad habits are symptoms of a bigger problem. For me, my problem was stress, and the symptom was my TikTok addiction. Instead of just quitting cold turkey and just staring at the ceiling for 5 hours instead, I decided to replace it with another action that would alleviate the source of my symptoms. But maybe your bad habit is more complicated and doesn't have such a simple trigger like that. Maybe you pick at the skin on your face, but it's not just happening when you're nervous, but it happens almost randomly. If a habit is occurring randomly, it is likely out of boredom. If your mind starts to wander and you accidentally find yourself performing a habit, it's likely out of boredom or just self-regulation. You might find that you crack your knuckles a lot or pull on your hair just because it's a soothing, repetitive behavior. I think the goal with these types of behaviors is to reduce them, not completely eliminate them. Doing the same thing for a prolonged period of time, like school or work, is devastatingly boring. So tapping your fingers or bouncing your knee isn't a necessarily bad thing. But in my opinion, you should just try and choose habits that are not destructive or harmful and that are subtle. I used to crack my wrist a lot, but then it eventually led to a lot of pain, so I decided to replace it with simply tapping my fingers. My personal rules for fidgets like this is that it should not cause harm, so no pinching, pulling, or biting. No touching your face, as it's a common way to break out, and more specifically, don't touch your eyes, your mouth, or your nose, as those will get you sick very easily. And have one that can be silent. I'm a personal fan of clicking things with my nails, now that they're finally long enough to do that. But I try not to do this in public because I don't want to be a bother to others. Step 4 is to become the person you want to be and tell other people about it. Identity is who you are. Our actions shape our identity, and in turn, our identity shapes our actions. Instead of saying, I'm going to try to not interrupt people, say, I'm a person who doesn't interrupt people. The more you start saying and thinking this, the more your identity will want to align with this. A great way to force yourself to keep a habit is to tell other people about it. Start saying to people, I don't bite my nails anymore, even if you did it that morning. You will want to prove it so that you're not a liar. It will also help keep you accountable. When other people catch you, they'll say, I thought you stopped cursing. And you'll want to align to that belief because other people's beliefs about you also shape your own identity. I had this friend in high school who wanted to stop the bad habit of not finishing his food. So he told his friend who sat with him at lunch, I want you to slap me as hard as possible if I don't finish my food. And unfortunately, he never had to slap him. But it definitely forced him to abandon that habit rather quickly. And step 5 is to not make it a big deal even if it is. Breaking a bad habit is not rocket science. It's not easy, but it's definitely doable. You don't need to wait till next week or next month or next year to start breaking a bad habit. It doesn't have to be the perfect day. You could have already done whatever you're trying to stop today, but that doesn't matter because you start now, not later, right now. And it's not a big deal. Something that always would help me stop procrastinating is to procrastination. Instead of I'll do my homework later, I'll just binge watch the show later and do my work now. Oftentimes, the work is way bigger in our heads than it is in reality. So by breaking it down into baby steps, it made it super easy for me to start. And it was like, why would I not? Since I'm in college doing dual enrollment, I basically have to write a paper almost every other day. It feels like a lot of work. But when I break it down into 2 days, it's super easy. I start as soon as possible, and the first day, I basically gather all my sources and answer the bare minimum questions and just do the formatting. And then that's it. The next day, I go in, and since I already answered all the questions, I just rewrite it into an essay format, and then I'm done. By breaking it up into simple steps like that, it feels like I'm not even doing work. For other bad habits, try and make it as easy as possible to do the alternative. Perhaps you want to eat healthy rather than eat junk food. So make sure your pantry is always stocked with healthy food. Try to get rid of all the other alternatives. Make it as hard as possible to get fast food and as easy as possible to eat healthy. If you have an urge to do whatever it is you're trying to stop, like for example, you want to get a Big Mac really bad, just tell yourself, I'll eat it tomorrow or I'll do it later. Even if you're not going to do it later, it feels better to say I'm going to do it later rather than no, I can never ever do this. Because if you tell yourself no, you will never ever have a Big Mac in your entire life again, then it feels overwhelming because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to have it. But if you say later and you just ignore it, then eventually you will stop getting the urge. So these were my personal steps on how to stop any bad habit. I just want to say I am not a medical professional. If you have a serious addiction, then please do your own research and reach out to a professional. If you enjoyed this video, it would mean a lot to me if you liked and left a comment. And if you want more videos like this, then subscribe. It would really help me out and it's completely free to do. I would also really appreciate it if you checked out my other channel, The Open Cycle Project. It's a safe space for menstrual and reproductive health where we try and make it as open and understandable as possible. And it's not just for women, but it's for anybody who wants to learn, because it can help you become a better partner, a better family member, a better friend, or just a better person in general. Thank you.